Welcome to Boring History for Sleep. Tonight, we drift gently across the cold, open steppe. A place without cities, without walls. Only sky and earth meeting in silence. The Mongol Empire once stretched from the shores of Korea to the gates of Europe. But before the conquests, before the emperors, there was simply the wind, the herd, and the rider. You are one such rider. A herdsman. A warrior. A speck beneath the vastness of the sky. As you breathe slowly and settle into stillness, let's step softly into that world. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and let the sounds of the steppe guide you into a deep and restful sleep. Sweet dreams. Imagine you are waking up. It's still dark outside. The sky is the color of ash. The felt walls of your tent are damp with your own breath. You can hear the slow, muffled movement of hooves and the soft clinking of tack. Your gear, a round, portable tent, smells of old wool, animal grease, and the faint sourness of ereg, fermented maize milk stored in a skin pouch near the entrance. Your blanket is thin. The cold slips underneath it like a silent thief. You rise, quietly. There are no beds, no fires. Just you, your worn boots, and the long day ahead. Life on the steppe. The steppe stretches endlessly in every direction. Flat, dry, cold in the winter, scorching in the summer. No trees, no cover, only low grasses, and the sound of the wind whistling through the ears of your horse. You live among herds, sheep, goats, horses, and the occasional yak. Your job is to keep them alive, feed them, move them, guard them from wolves and from other men. You travel light, a bow, a saddle, a bag of dried meat, and always your horse, more important than a brother. There's no weekend, no holiday, only seasons and their rhythm, the food, or lack thereof. Breakfast is what you didn't eat the night before. Usually dried meat, tough as bark, sometimes curds from sour milk, and arag, warm, fizzy, and slightly sour. It's not pleasant, but it keeps you going. Fresh food is rare. When you eat meat, it's often raw or boiled without spices. You chew slowly, carefully. Nothing is wasted in winter. You survive on frozen fat. In summer, you try not to sweat too much. Water is precious. Endless riding. You ride for hours, sometimes for days. 5 horses. You switch between them, so none grow too tired. You guide the herd with whistles, gentle tugs, and rhythmic chants your father taught you. Your legs ache. Your back stiffens. But you ride on, the wind at your face, your eyes squinting from the sun, or stinging from ice. There are no roads, no signs. You read the land like a map. A hill here, a stream there. Your ancestors knew these paths. So, do you warfare without romance when the Khan calls for soldiers? You go, there's no glory in war, only long marches. Cold camps and endless drills. You practice shooting from horseback, leaning low, loosing arrows while galloping full speed. Your saddle has no stirrups. Your balance is everything. Armor, maybe a coat of layered leather, maybe nothing at all. You sleep with your horse's reins wrapped around your wrist. You eat whatever's left, and if a comrade falls behind, you ride on. The rhythm of their lives at night, you return to your gear. The stars above are endless, the ground below unforgiving. You brush your horse down with numb fingers. You whisper a chant for good weather tomorrow. You enter your tent. The air is thick, the fire is low, the smell of smoke, sweat, and milk lingers. You lie down, not for rest, but to rise again before the sun. Such was the rhythm of their lives, hard, simple, without pause. As the stars settle over the steppe, and your horse breathes softly outside your tent, let us turn the page. To a boy born into exile, not yet a Khan, not yet a conqueror, just a child. In the cold, let the wind quiet, let the hooves rest. Now, we step into the early life of a boy named Temujin, before he was called Genghis Khan, not a warlord, not an emperor, just a child, walking barefoot across the open steppe. Born into a broken world, Temujin was born around the year 1162, beneath the wide sky of the Mongolian plateau. The world he entered was tribal, fragile, and constantly shifting. His people were not yet an empire. They were fractured clans, rival chiefs, uneasy alliances, and blood that remembered every feud. Temujin's father was a minor chieftain, respected, but not powerful. His mother, a strong woman named Holun, had been taken from another tribe. And so, from birth, Temujin knew that peace was temporary. He was named Temujin after a man his father had just killed. It was a world where names were stories, and stories were debts. Exile and survival. When Temujin was 9 years old, his father was poisoned, perhaps by a rival clan. With his death, the family lost their status. Their followers abandoned them. They were left alone, Temujin, his mother, and his siblings, cast out onto the cold plains. They had no horses, no herd, only what they could gather, roots, rodents, and rainwater. His mother kept them alive with bitter herbs and wild onions. She told them stories by firelight, of ancestors, of loyalty, of the sky gods above. Temujin learned to set traps, to tie knots, to sleep with one eye open. Even as a boy, he knew survival was a quiet war. Family shadows. Temujin had a half-brother, Vector, older, stronger, more dominant. One day, food became too scarce, too much tension, a quarrel over a fish. Temujin, with his brother Kasar, killed Vector. It was not celebrated, but it was not rare. Among nomads, power had to be taken, even from kin. This, too, was part of the rhythm. Captivity and escape in his teens. Temujin was captured by a rival tribe, the Tayashi. They tied him with a wooden yoke, a rough piece of timber that bound his neck and wrists. He could not feed himself, could not lie down properly, could only watch the sky and wait. But one night, a lowly guard showed mercy, loosened his bindings, let him slip into the grass and into darkness. Temujin never forgot the man's name. Years later, he would reward him. In a world of betrayal, even one kindness echoed forever. Alliances made in silence. As he grew older, Temujin made alliances, not by force, but by loyalty. He married Bert, a calm, intelligent woman. She became his compass. Together, they survived another kidnapping, another winter, another exile. He won over blood brothers and sworn companions. Among them, a boy named Jamuka. For a time, they were closer than kin. Later, they would be enemies, but not yet. The quiet before the storm, Temujin would one day unite the Mongol tribes. He would rewrite the laws of war, command armies across continents, and bring empires to their knees. But that is not tonight's story. Tonight, we remember the wind-blown boy, the exile with frostbitten hands, the child who slept in the grass and learned that silence is sometimes stronger than a sword. He did not rise in anger. He rose in patience, step by step, season by season. And when the time came, he did not raise his voice. He raised a banner. As the sun begins to rise above the Mongol plains and the mist rolls gently over the grasses, we close this chapter. In the next part of our journey, we'll follow the winds into strange rituals of death and sky, where the body is left, but the spirit rides on.
The mystery ritual, sky burials, and spirit tents. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the coolness of the wind brushing across your face. Hear the soft rustling of dry grasses in the distance, the distant whinny of a horse, and the silence that follows a passing soul. Among the Mongols, death was not feared. It was folded into the rhythm of life, like the turning of the seasons, or the falling of snow. And so, when someone passed on, their body was not buried, not burned, not sealed in stone. It was given back to the sky. A quiet return to the earth and sky. Imagine you are there. An elder in your family has died. He was not a great warrior, but he was wise. He sang softly to the herds, told stories that kept the fire burning through long winters. Now, he lies still. There are no grand funerals, no weeping crowds, no ornate tombs. Instead, there is only the steppe, the wind, and tradition. The sky burial, the family chooses a quiet spot, far from camp. No markers, no memorials, only the openness of the land. The body is wrapped loosely, never tightly. It must be free. Viz placed on a raised platform, or in the open air, exposed to the sky. Birds will come. Foxes, perhaps. The elements will take the rest. It may seem strange to us, but to the Mongols, it was natural. The body is not the person. The spirit has already flown, riding the wind toward the eternal blue sky. What remains feeds the world. The spirit tent, or doinget in some cases, especially among noble families. A spirit tent, or orduingare, was erected, a special gare round, white and isolated, dedicated to the memory of the departed. Inside, offerings were left, bowls of milk, scraps of meat, pieces of silk. The air inside was still, zids, waiting for a presence that might return. No one lived in the tent, but it was visited. Softly, quietly, prayers were whispered at the doorway. The spirit, it was believed, lingered for a time, watching, listening, and then, slowly, like mist rising off the grass, it would go. Death. Without fear, the Mongols did not fear death, but they respected its path. There were no dramatic tombstones, no long laments. Instead, the customs were simple and elemental. The spirit belonged to the eternal blue sky, sacred force above all things. The body was just a traveler's cloak, shed at the end of the journey. No need to hold on. No need to disturb the silence. The world would carry on. The herds would graze, the fires would crackle, and the wind, always the wind, would whisper their name. As the grasses sway gently in the breeze, and the stars begin to flicker in the quiet sky. Let us turn, now, to the life of the powerful. 2 silk cushions and silver saddles. To the Khan's portable palace, where politics were whispered, and comfort was absolute.
The elite contrast inside the Khan's portable palace now. We move from the cold ground of the common soldier to the soft felt rugs of the ruling elite, from salted mutton to delicacies carried across half a continent, from silence born of obedience to silence born of power. Let us step quietly inside the Ordo, the mobile court of the Khan. The Ordo, a palace without walls. The Mongol Khans did not build stone castles. They did not raise cities of marble or carve their names into cliffs. Instead, they brought their world with them. The Khan's ger, his personal tent, was vast, round, and richly adorned, larger than any others. White felt on the outside, a symbol of purity and strength. Inside, the scent of warm milk, polished wood, and burning herbs. Silken banners hung from the ceiling. Carpets from Persia and China covered the floor. Golden cups, ivory spoons. And in the center, the Khan's seat slightly raised, but never ostentatious. Everything could be packed up within hours. The palace was portable. Luxury on the move while herdsmen survived on dried meat. The Khan's cooks prepared dishes with spices brought from India, rice from China, and wine sealed in glass bottles from far-off cities. Guests might be served roasted lamb with plum sauce, or cheese wrapped in leaves. They dined on lacquerware. They sipped from silver bowls. Music played softly, lutes, flutes, and low singing. The songs were slow, haunting, telling of ancestors, lost lovers, and the rhythm of rain. Servants moved silently, always watching. Every gesture mattered. A misplaced word could end a career, or a life. Politics by whisper and gesture, the Khan's power was quiet, rarely shouted, often implied. Meetings took place in corners of the tent. Discussions over bowls of milk tea. Foreign envoys knelt. Generals spoke in low tones. One gesture, a raised eyebrow, a folded arm, could change the fate of a province. It was not a court of loud proclamations, but of careful listening. Even silence was a message. The women behind the curtain in the Khan's household, the women, mothers, wives, and senior consorts, held quiet influence. They managed the movement of camps, directed trade, even advised on military matters. They stitched lineage into every robe, and diplomacy into every cup served. The great Khan might rule, but the pulse of the palace was kept steady by the women behind the curtain. A world within walls of felt here, within this moving palace. A global empire was dreamed into being. Decisions made in silence on a felt carpet would echo in Persia, Kiev, and Beijing. And yet, at night, the Khan lay beneath the same stars as the herdsmen. The same wind swept through his ger. The same wolves howled beyond his camp. The difference was only in the weight of his name. Soft reflection in outrow, and now the fire burns low. The night settles over the grasslands. You've walked through the life of the Mongol herdsman, ridden beside a child who would become a legend, witnessed a sky burial beneath the eternal blue sky, and stepped into the Khan's felt-draped court, where silence meant power. The Mongols lived close to the earth, and yet dreamed across the heavens. Their lives were shaped by wind, horse, loyalty, and patience. As you rest now, feel the weight of the woolen blanket, the softness of imagined hoofbeats in the distance, and know the step is quiet. It always has been, and it always will be. Good night, traveler. And may the wind be soft upon your tent,